Welcome to Movie Slice. Quick, fun recaps of your favorite movies. Sharp, funny, and to the point. Hit subscribe and get your perfect slice of cinema. The story of the movie begins and is built by a woman named Julia, who was sad because of her husband as they had fought. We learned that her husband's name is Manuel, but he was not interested in her and was playing with his nephew, giving him his phone to watch his cat. Meanwhile, Manuel takes the child to the bedroom to put him to sleep. Then, his sister, whose name is Belen, arrives, and they chat. And when they leave, she sees them off at the door. Julia was driving the car and was tense, and he kept asking her and trying to resolve the issue, but suddenly a car appears in their way. At the last moment, Julia manages to avoid it with difficulty, and they survive the accident. But unfortunately, their car ends up in the middle of the street, and a few seconds later, a bigger car comes and a terrible accident occurs. The victim of this accident is Julia, who dies because of it. As for Manuel, after a while, he lives alone in the house, mourning her loss, but he has a cat, so he always feeds it. At that time, the news and health authorities were warning about the spread of a new epidemic, which is more dangerous than any previous one. People in the market started buying a lot of supplies, but Manuel didn't care and kept listening to the news at home and playing with the cat. Then, Belen calls him on video and tells him that today they called her husband, who works in the army, and that they are going to another island, which is safer, and that they will give her a house there. She tells her brother to come with them, saying she can't leave him alone to suffer. Manuel refuses outright, but then Belen manages to convince him. When he sees people starting to pack their things and trying to flee the city because of the infections, he decides to go. He arrives at the airport and stands in a long line, but suddenly an announcement is made that all flights are cancelled and a general alert is activated. Belen calls him and tells him to hurry because they're going to close the airspace, but when he tells her it's already closed, she tells him to go home immediately because this epidemic spreads quickly, with an incubation period of just a few minutes, and its symptoms will turn the infected into zombies, spreading through bites. Suddenly, one of the passengers panics and starts a fight, so everyone gets scared, and then they all return home from the airport because chaos and panic have spread among the people. Now we see Manuel stuck in a traffic jam stretching for kilometers, so he walks home. When he reaches his neighborhood, he sees the authorities have it surrounded and are moving people out. He tries to get into his house and manages to sleep, but then he starts remembering Julia and the day of the accident. Suddenly, he wakes up to a call from Belen, who tells him that the government wants to establish quarantine and safe zones and will later redistribute the population, so he must never go with them, because the more people, the more infections. She makes him promise never to leave his house, and he does. After the call ends, he feels more afraid than before. He goes to the market to get some food, but finds nothing available, so he locks up the house tightly. Then, a helicopter comes, announcing to citizens that they must leave their homes and go to quarantine. People start leaving and getting into quarantine vehicles, but Manuel stays in the house. The army starts searching homes, and Manuel gets nervous and hides quickly. During this period, the army tries to break into Manuel's house, but they can't because he had locked it very securely, so they give up because they don't have time. The next day, the city is empty, and no one is left. Manuel quickly puts on a diving suit for protection from bites and starts searching homes for leftover food, but finds very little, which is not enough. While searching, he finds an old woman sitting in her wheelchair who tells him she has nothing edible. Manuel feels sorry for her, asks why she didn't go with the army, and she says she couldn't catch up with them. And after her children left, their lines were cut off and she doesn't know what happened to them. She tells him she will show him which houses in the area might have food and asks him to bring her some because she is starving. After she points out the houses, Manuel breaks windows and steals food, but finds very little, not enough even for himself, until he enters the last house and finds a lot of food. That night, they eat together. Afterwards, he decides to sleep at home, but suddenly the old woman calls him on the radio and tells him to turn on the radio to frequency 100. Manuel does, and hears a broadcast telling survivors that they will be evacuated to the Canary Islands and the gathering point is at Orsa Bay. Manuel tells her he doesn't trust crowds, but the old woman replies that the food is running out and if they don't die from the epidemic, they'll die of hunger. He is convinced by her idea and tells her that tomorrow they will go to the place on his boat, but she refuses, saying she can't move from her chair. Manuel tells her he will help her and they will survive. The next day, Manuel prepares himself and his things and tries to contact the old woman by radio, but she is hesitant. He goes to her house, but is shocked to find she left him a note thanking him for his help and telling him to save himself. We learn that the old woman died from hunger, and Manuel starts crying over her loss and decides to make the journey alone. He returns home and records audio messages for his sister, telling her everything that happened, but he has no internet to send them. When he finishes, he takes the cat in a cage and rides a bike to the coast. On the way, he sees army vehicles that were supposed to rescue people, but they are all destroyed. He rides as fast as he can, knowing this area is full of zombies. As soon as the zombies hear the sound of the bike, they chase him like mad from all directions. Unfortunately, his bike gets stuck in a pile of bodies and he falls off. He tries to start it, but the zombies approach him, so he runs and, when he reaches a safe area, closes an iron gate behind him. He is surprised to find that there are no boats left, realizing he is now trapped between the sea and the zombies. At this moment, Manuel has to find a solution. He decides to take the emergency raft available on a boat, takes the cat, and sails away. After sunset, it becomes night, but the raft's engine breaks down. He then sees a yellow light from a large ship and starts signaling to it. This ship had gunmen, and when they saw Manuel, they lowered their weapons, got on with them, and gave them food. Here, a translator comes in because the people inside the ship were speaking Mexican and Manuel was speaking Spanish. This translator used to work as a pilot, but when the pandemic happened, he stayed here. He asked Manuel about his job, and Manuel said he was a lawyer and had a small solar panel company and that he also knew the locations. So the translator tells them that this guy is an engineer who knows the locations, and we know he's exaggerating, so they'll let him stay on the ship and he can benefit from them. But Manuel feels a strange feeling because there are no survivors except him, and when he sleeps in his room in the middle of the night, he hears strange sounds. He looks out the window and sees survivors asking for help, and the next day he sees that none of those he saw last night are there. So he goes and asks the translator, and we learn that the translator's name is Victor. Victor tells him, if you want to stay here, obey the ship's captain and never ask questions. Indeed, they take the ship's captain and ask him to show them safe places on the map, but he doesn't show them. But then, Manuel sees that things have gotten more serious on the ship in terms of weapons and ammunition. He sees belongings of survivors and confirms that they are locked up below. He gets angry and goes to Victor and tells him that the survivors are imprisoned below. Victor tells him, "What's happening on the ship? I have a helicopter near the hospital and you're a pilot. Let's escape." Manuel is shocked. So here, he decides to escape alone. He puts the cat in the cage and goes down to free the prisoners, but the guards hear and come down and start shooting at them. Here, Manuel raises his hands, but then Victor comes down when he hears the noise and sees the guard about to shoot Manuel. He turns the weapon and kills the guard. Victor tells him, "I hope you're telling the truth about the helicopter because we really need to escape." Indeed, they take a boat from the ship and escape quickly, but the ship's captain shoots at them, and unfortunately, Victor is injured. After that, they reach the city's shore where the helicopter is, and Manuel needs a car to get to the hospital as quickly as possible to save Victor. He finds a car in the street, charges his phone from the car, and tries to talk to Victor and keep him conscious. When they reach the hospital, they don't find the emergency helicopter, so Manuel keeps searching until he runs into a zombie. He goes down to kill it and get it out of the way. He takes Victor and enters the hospital, and they start walking quietly so that if there are zombies, they won't hear them. They go to the operating room to treat Victor's injury, and Manuel goes to look for surgical tools but hears the voices of survivors from the hospital corridors. He leaves Victor and goes to look for them to help him. He starts shouting loudly, "I'm here! I need your help! I'm in the operating room!" At this time, the zombies hear and come from everywhere, but Manuel runs as fast as he can to get back to Victor and locks the door on the zombies. But he doesn't find Victor. Luckily, Nurse Lucia had gone to Victor when she heard the emergency call at the hospital. The nurse took him to the hospital roof and showed him that there was a helicopter, but the infected and zombies were surrounding it. He tells her that Victor is a pilot and can help them. Then they return to the room and talk about the parents of the children, but their parents were among the medical staff and got infected with the virus. Manuel also tells them about his wife, how she died in this hospital, and he keeps remembering the room number where she died. He goes there and then goes up to the hospital roof and hears strange sounds. When he gets closer, he sees that they are the ship's gang with weapons. He runs quickly to the room and tells them that there are dangerous people here and that they need to escape quickly to the helicopter. Indeed, they take the children, nurses, and Victor with them. The nurse tells them there is another route, but it's dangerous, but it will get them to the helicopter. This path is through a laboratory that exploded a while ago, and they all put on masks so they don't suffocate from the chemical fumes. When they reach the door, they find it closed, and Manuel takes a nearby axe and starts breaking down the door, but suddenly a zombie attacks them and bites the woman. At this moment, they take the children and leave her, and they quietly pass in front of the zombie. One of the little girls sees her mother, who was infected and a zombie. She calls out to her, "Mama," and because of her voice, all the zombies turn to them and attack. Manuel takes her and hides in a closet, locking them inside, while the rest of the team passes to the other side. The zombies keep attacking the closet until the gang enters and kills them. When the gang sees the room is empty, they leave quickly. Manuel gets out of the closet and goes to his team. There, he sees a closed door. They get very close to the helicopter, but there are a lot of zombies outside. Manuel comes up with an idea: to use all the metal shelves as a shield so they can cross. After a few moments, the metal starts making noise, and all the zombies notice and quickly attack them. But Manuel fights them off and keeps them away until they finally reach the helicopter. But Nurse Lucia and Manuel keep defending until the engine starts. When it does, the gang comes in and threatens Victor and Manuel with weapons, and everyone raises their hands to surrender. But Manuel thinks of a plan to get rid of them. He lets his team fly the helicopter, opens the door for the zombies, and allows them in. The zombies attack and kill the gang. In the end, Victor manages to fly the helicopter, but Manuel is left below, surrounded by zombies. Lucia throws down a rope, and with great difficulty, she manages to pull him up. Finally, they manage to survive this human disaster. Manuel and Victor are happy, and after flying a distance, they get internet and coverage. Manuel calls his sister Belen and tells her they are coming to the Canary Islands, but Belen warns him and tells him not to come, to go back. Not to come, please, because the place has become chaos. Suddenly, they hear the sounds of warplanes above them, and that's where the movie ends. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video.